everything that I said. When they came, you were not prepared. Then it all fell right on your head. And now you're lying in your bed. You've got yourself in a rabbit hole. You're trapped 'cause you did not let go. You took that bait and now
I forgot we can do that. I did learn how to do that one.
Hey everybody, it's Kari with LCC Apple, and I'm here with my girls, Sara and Kari.
Hi!
So we just got back from a salt room, which I had never even heard of it, and we were looking for a field trip.
Yep.
And so we went and inhaled Himalayan salt for about an hour.
Yeah. How did you guys feel about that? Did
Well,
you get anything besides Sarah's salty shirt?
Yeah, it came out with like a salt dust.
Yeah, mine too. I'm sure it was the color of yours. But
It helped open up my lungs and
Yeah,
my
it did.
sinuses.
I feel clearer too. Because we have big bad allergies down here in Texas, and people it really inhibits your breathing sometimes.
The tree pollen's very high right now.
It is really, really high. And we've had this black cloud moving all around Houston because in Deer Park, that refinery exploded. And it keeps exploding. I don't know if it keeps exploding, but apparently it caught on fire again. So that, and they say, no, there aren't any air issues. I'm like, really? How can
Really?
I can see it.
It stays where it needs to stay.
You can see it. It's like
Yeah.
you can dust something. You can dust something outside a table, and then an hour later you got to film on it.
It's back.
Yes,
So-
and I just wanted to say that I have my own little private joke to myself that Sarah's
gonna
on
be-
this yellow car kick, and I think to
Oh, yeah.
myself, in Texas, all of the cars are yellow this time of year. So I don't know if those are counted as sinks.
What a wonderful world.
That's why it's so cheap to live in Houston.
That is one
That
of
and
the
the heat.
reasons. Yep.
No, but on the way over, we were talking, we just have these great topics, and I wanted to mic her car. She has a cooler car than mine, and I just didn't get to it. But-
She's outgrown her mom van. We're still in the mom van phase.
Oh, you have.
Yes.
I've outgrown it too.
So any dirt in it is my car is mine.
Right,
You have a
or
beautiful
some
car.
of mine, but no petrified French fries from 8 months ago.
Do your
beer
kids ever
cans.
do the pocket fries?
No,
My kids
what?
do pocket fries. They take fries and they put them in their pockets for later
Oh, what's that?
to bug mom.
I
No.
like to find pennies in the dryer. I would be very upset to find a French fry.
fries.
They don't make it to the dryer. By the time you get to the dryer, they're gone. Now, the colored pencils, the gum. Okay, we totally
Crayons.
digress. So on the way over, we were talking. I was asking you because we've now known each other a few years, and your skills have always been great, but they have just become mad skills. And so I was asking you how you hear. So to give you a little bit of background, I'll let you give you a little bit of background.
Okay, so we're in my home right now. This is
Where Sarah's
yeah.
home.
This is where I raised my kids, Adam and Amy. I've lived here for 30 years.
K's not for Carrie, it's for
It's
Kajawa.
for Kajawa. Or Kirkland.
Or Kari.
Right. A lot of my decor is from Kirkland.
Or the other Kari.
Or the other Kari.
She's honoring us.
And it put me on a fast path of learning how to communicate when my son suddenly died in January 2014. So it catapulted me into a different awareness of opening and expanding and healing. And so it brought me to different layers of learning how to communicate, first with signs and the synchronicities, and then being able to hear my son's voice. So we had talked about different ways. There's not a right way or a wrong way. It all comes in. It's kind of like watching a movie. Some of us are zoned in on hearing. Some of us are on the visual. Some of us we're on all parts of it. It's kind of like when you watch a movie from the kitchen. You get bits and pieces of it, but you don't get the full spectrum until you sit down. And then again, if you were in dark lighting or at a movie theater, you get even a broader spectrum of the movie.
You're in it.
You're in it, with the surround sound. So we talked about how, for me, spirit comes through, and they're all different. Even if I talk to a celebrity, they're all different. Just like if we're having a conversation, we could try to repeat a conversation that we've had today, and the bits and pieces might be a little different.
Yep.
Because of how we remembered it.
Right.
So we're still picking up on the vibrations of, the based on our experiences. So when I hear spirit, sometimes it comes in as a chunk, like a big knowing, like it just drops
Like a
in.
download.
Other times I hear Adam right outside my ear. Sometimes it feels like I have earbuds and he's inside.
So you actually
Or
hear his
I
voice?
can hear his voice, and it's all different. It's all different. So it just varies.
When I used to interview on Shiny, I would ask Allison or the guests, either one, how are you receiving this information? Because there's many different ways. She'd either see them projected in front of her, she'd see them in the mind's eye, she'd hear them externally, she'd hear them internally, she'd feel their energy and interpret their meaning. And it was their preference. It's not really how she sent out the signal, come talk to me out this way. It was how they wanted to present their information to her.
Because that can really mess you up if you put your own expectations. Well, no, I see you sitting next to me having a full conversation over coffee. Sometimes that
then you try
up.
When you try so hard to make that happen that you miss it. Do you remember when when we went to the James Van Praagh, we didn't know each other at that point, but he had said that when we cross, just like here, some people communicate really well, and then others don't. Right. It's the same. It's the same way on that side too.
Yeah, like Robin Williams, we've all very strong and very like all over the place, and I can hear him very strongly. Where other ones are more soft spoken, just like we remember them in life. Or is that to help us to remember too, or both? I don't know. So just try not to judge it and just kind of let it unfold.
Mm-hmm. Most of my messages, they don't feel like messages to me. They truly just feel like my thoughts. But I'm learning that's not the truth. Sometimes it's so. But you know what? When I know it's spirit is when I start laughing, because it's like a punchline that I wasn't expecting. So it wasn't anything I thought of. So it's like they just cracked a joke to me.
Like something just comes in from the left side, and you go, "Oh my god, that was so funny."
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Some people say that. Some people say that they know that when it comes in from this side or it comes in from that side. And I think you can also help train your guides to bring the information.
Sure, I think so too.
Crack a whip to them,
or the bouncers, as I like to call them. But yeah, and I think mine is automatic writing. I mean, I have had several times. I've had that. I mean, the person is right there in my face, but for me, that doesn't happen very often. Mm-hmm. And then one time I had the name. I was in an office by myself, and I hear, Kari! That was weird. This is way before. I think they were trying to literally get me to wake up. But mine is automatic writing. That is my easiest way to connect.
How do you automatic write? When I first started automatic writing, I really believed that I was just going to close my eyes and start scribbling, and a message would be there. It was just scribbles. I think that's how I channel too. I think when I'm in my place, because I'll write. That's how I process my stuff.
You haven't done or heard you do that in a while.
I know. I'm kind of off that for a little bit, but I feel like my writing, because that's where I find peace, and it starts going all by itself.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm channeling too when I'm doing my writing. I just have to be, because I come up with all my smart stuff.
I know. You go back and you read it, and you're like,
yeah, where'd that come from?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know where that
used
came
a
from.
big word.
That's a my word. No, I know that I had a friend of mine, Daryl. It's so funny. I last show I started to tell this story, and then I squirreled myself. But so a friend of mine who was just waking up. I mean, he can make things move. He's amazing. He's not just waking up now. I mean, he's pretty much woke. And he said, so how do I automatically write? I mean, like, can you teach me? And how do I mean, like, discipline, like, show me the way. And so I said, okay, it's like this. And I pulled out a pad and I wrote to my guides, Daryl wants to know how to automatically write. And they laughed. They're like, welcome to what we deal with you. Like, show me. I can't do it until you show me. But I just write. Like, I will sit, and sometimes I started off with saying, hi guys, how are you today? Or I'll say, whatever happened with da-da-da-da-da. And then it just starts flowing. And it, like, something has to trigger the flow.
Remember last night I was chatting with you, Sarah, and I'm like, I'm pretty, what's that?
Isn't that pretty? No, it just...
I said, I'm in a pretty good place right now. Is it still going? I'll keep talking.
No, it's still going. Keep talking.
I'm in a pretty good place right now and chill, and that's too bad because I really wanted to get fired up and do my writing.
Right.
I found it. I found my fire.
Can you thank you. Can you automatic write when you're not fired up?
Oh, definitely. But last night was a fired up moment.
You're a good story timer.
You're a great storyteller.
I haven't done it in a long time because now I'm doing it all on video.
But automatic writing is a great form to communicate to whoever. If you just want to get guidance from your higher self and put it out there, so you can almost like you're a third person and you're dictating.
Yeah, and that's when I always.
But it takes practice.
It's when I felt peace when I was in my real radical, mutating. The only time I felt peace was in that channeling writing place. So I did it all the time. I couldn't wait for it.
Do you still have it?
Good. The what?
The writings.
Yes, it's all in my tablet.
Okay.
Got it all.
So my really juicy stuff. Sorry about that.
Ooh, I love juicy stuff.
Well, I have this online diary, and I locked it, and I don't remember the passcode.
Oh no!
Now you got to communicate with your higher self to get
Right.
And my hint to myself was your next door neighbor. I'm like, I'm almost 50. What? And I'm afraid it's gonna lock me out. But anyway,
Right, if you do it too many times.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe it's just not meant to be. You're supposed to go because I can even go back and look at all my journals from that first year of grief, and it's like it was so important, but yet I look back and go, oh, wow. You know, I mean, I don't want to get into those emotions because I'm
you want to relive it.
Yeah.
But it's like,
can you even go there? I mean, can you even feel it
I can't
again?
hold it anymore.
Isn't that
I feel that
nice?
low
I mean, you can.
vibration. Or
And
not
that's,
low, but that.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
can't
how
hold
you
it
know when
either.
the spirits say they can't stay there. That's
I
how
think
I
so,
compare it
too.
to.
Good
It's like you
point.
can go
Right.
back and you can visit it just for a moment. You can get a taste of it, but you can't stay
It's
there.
kind of like childbirth. You remember how painful and all everything you went through, but you know.
You get pregnant
can't-
again somehow.
No, that's
you can't get back in there.
They've
how
proven
that feeling is because
they've proven that.
You feel it.
There's an amnesia that happens.
An,
Otherwise, you
an
never have babies
amniotic
again.
amnesia.
There you
An
go.
Yes.
It could be the AM amnesia after a child was born. So it's-
Okay, next. What are you going to say next?
Oh,
AM.
So yes, automatic writing or
Automatic writing? Yeah. Automatic
so
writing.
Even for me, I am not a tech person at all, as you guys know that, and I'm much older than you guys.
You're not.
So even with my
Why do you think that?
channeling group of doing grief differently with Adam and Sarah, the channel message if a celebrity comes through, I just tell them to wait a minute so I can get situated, and then I just translate it right from the keyboard on.
Do they wait?
Post it.
They're in a big hurry.
No, they're in no hurry.
They have nowhere to go.
We're the ones that have
Let's
issues
go.
with thinking about
I know.
that, right?
Somebody has a
What
meeting
time is
today.
it? It's
almost
whatever
one.
time. And
It's now.
we got hold off. I got to go to the bathroom. But give me a minute.
Stay put.
They come
Stay
with,
here.
They
Don't
just come with
me.
you.
So then I can do automatic writing that way. But I used to do automatic writing on paper, and then
I was always told to do pencil to paper because
That
you
feels
needed
better
that
to me.
kinetic connection.
Mm-hmm.
But I could never do that. I mean, all my guides told me that. So, I'm always a good girl and always listen to
Yeah.
my guides. I just could never get inspiration that way. It's all about the thumbs for me.
well, if you struggle with that with the long hand, then if you or not advanced, but if you're tech savvy and you're used to using a keyboard, surely try the keyboard. But I needed to do longhand, but then I couldn't read my longhand
That was part of the problem
I never
for me,
got back to
too.
read.
because I'd write so fast. And it's like
What did I say?
I don't know.
Well,
Lots of loops.
I spelled T on my computer, and so my space bar's kind of stuck,
Sticky.
and so it's making me nuts. So I am a.
Just one long
So
word.
I am now. Yeah, exactly.
Supercalifragilistic.
Yeah. So that was I think that we all have that innate way that we communicate with spirit, and I know that Bob has told me that laugh every time I say that
Boob.
things go boob, hello boob, but things go by fast, and that we're constantly getting downloads, messages, and they're kind of hidden in our own.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's why
true.
you're supposed to meditate, so you can get them. a little
True,
clearer.
and I really push for those who want to communicate with their loved ones or whoever, their pets, whomever, is to practice on the meditation. Not meaning you have to be in the Zen place at all times, but it's because you've got to clear the monkeys out long enough to hear what spirit has to say.
That's true.
That's all.
That's true.
That's all.
That's true. So you can see it. Like if you have what I'm seeing now is like a field of white snow, and if you have white rabbits, you can't see them. I'm not really sure how that works, but so okay. So you and I were talking about. You've said this before, and you've had a couple of lives where you've gone through this before, the loss of a child, and previously. You medicated or you parachuted out. Is that right? And
Yes, two that I'm sure there's multiple, just like you have already. Hopefully, you've already been there, done that. And where I self-medicated in one, and one was I resorted to alcohol and
different lifetimes.
yeah, different lifetimes. The same scenario with Adam. Different accidents. One, I caused the accident. So it was a big burden to carry, and I never came out of it. I became a very angry, disillusioned person and ended my life.
Do you recall that lifetime fairly clearly?
Bits and pieces of it. I remember how what an ugly person I was, a very sad, lonely person.
Before the accident also, or after?
This was after. I would ask to go into meditations to show me, because Adam would say, well, you've been there, done that, to show us that this is not it, right? That we have other lifetimes going on at the same time, even though we can go tap into it. So to help me, and by me helping to heal myself in this lifetime, I can change directions, all the way out, the ripple effect. But yes, being in that dark place when I realized that was another way to push me forward in this life, because I would have those knowings and get those remembering moments, and like, oh my God, I've been there, done this before. Now I know I can do it differently because I've already done it that way.
Yeah, that way didn't work.
I'm not going to check out this time. Not that I didn't feel like I wanted to.
You know what? I just a thought just popped in, because she probably, I don't know, maybe you want her to experience it many ways, because you just said, I did it that way, it didn't work. But there is no wrong, so it did work. She did have that experience, and now she's choosing to have a contrasting experience.
Yes,
I like that.
and
so you can have both sides of the coin.
In the one lifetime that I'm referring to, it was where I was very Bible oriented, and this is how it was. Oh my God, I'm gonna burn in hell because of what I did, and all those fears, very fear based, and that I wanted to do it differently in this life, and go no.
Even though this accident had nothing to do with you this time, you're still on a path to teach everyone. Because parents do still, or anybody, still feel guilt, whether you had nothing to do with it at all. You did not protect your child by telling them to not go to Denver, therefore it's your fault. I mean, not really, but you know what I mean?
Right.
And so you're, part of this doing grief differently is to alleviate that guilt.
Yes, because remember, he had a conversation with me a week before he left saying, I really don't feel good about going. And so he had that with me. So I had to let go of some of that guilt too after he died.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my gosh, he knew something was not right.
And I still let my baby boy go.
But I know that I can say, knowing what I know, I still don't want to go through that pain. I still don't know if I could survive it. And that's not a challenge, by the way. But I know that there are things that I say, ooh, should they go do this? Should they go do that? And it's like, can I cut it off? Can I cut that?
It.
Right. Exactly. I mean, what's happening is going to happen.
Learn that we each have our own individual journey. Not that we can't influence our thoughts and everything, but we all have a projection. We all have these, I believe we all have different exit points that we've set up depending where we are in our journey, and that there's divine timing in everything.
Do you know the way I've heard that put? And I love this, because to me this takes the pressure off, because I think we do put undue pressure on ourselves for certain things, and for probably a lot of things. Let's say your soul, where you are in the development of whatever aspect of yourself, your soul says, you know what, you need to do work in this, or you say to yourself, I really want to do work in this. And so let's say I want to know what it's like to be on my own. So you and your husband have this signpost somewhere set up in your life that you get into this car wreck and your husband passes away. So all of a sudden you're kind of just thrown into this life. Well, if you have done the work up to that point, and if you have consciously come into that situation, it could just be a scrape. It could be that you hit the back of a guy's car, that's it. Right. So I do believe that we do come in with these potential soul growths, but if we're willing to take the initiation and look for places that we may need to unearth and help ourselves, that we can
just keep going.
We can avoid some of those things. But you're not doing it to avoid. You're doing it,
and don't waste time trying to figure out if you're altering, changing, whatever.
That's hard. That's hard once you realize that you're kind of in control of that stuff. But I'm just laughing. So my computer just blacked out.
Staring at black.
Totally blacked out. But So that is, so where can people find you?
Oh, well, my Facebook group is Doing Grief Differently with Adam and Sarah, and it's a closed group, so you'll have to like search for us to request being a member. And then my my website is sarahkajawa.com, so you can find all that information.
Yeah, there's a lot of grief out there around this, and I was telling, I may have already told you guys this, but I had a mama ask me why she said my son has had like 9, a lot of kids that have committed suicide. And I mean, that just does seem, and I've never looked up the statistic if it is higher than it used to be. And I know that we can say it's, social stuff, it's this, it's that. I think there have always been reasons that kids can check out. But what my guides said was that there was a potentiality. There's this whole wave of souls that came in to do this work, but it's sort of like getting to the field that you're supposed to plant all these beautiful plants, and the house is still there from before. It's like, okay, someone was supposed to knock this house down, and someone was supposed to till this, this earth, and it wasn't done. So they say, okay, then it's not right. The environment's not right, so we're going to go ahead and go to the next thing. Mm-hmm. So, and that kind of brought me a little bit of peace, and come on, let's get going. Let's get this party started.
Yeah, and I think Kari and I believe the same too. That I think I would consider all deaths suicide because we all plan our exits, and our soul decides when to check out. So really, in essence, no matter how, whether it's lung cancer or like Adam's accident, whatever, there's so many layers and so many experiences to be had by others around your death.
I like that. I mean, no one dies. No one's death is in vain. But another thing is to remember is that nobody gets out of here alive.
Right. No, we knew
Nobody does. I mean, maybe Yogananda, maybe.
I don't think anyone's been taught that we don't. But it's still a huge fear, and that's what my goal is, to help release that fear.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I told my dad that once. I said, Dad, no one gets out of, the party. It's just this friend left the party early. He's like, I want to be the one to turn the lights out. And I get that, and he probably will be. But we all leave, and it's how do we want to leave? And I personally believe that we are somewhat, at least it's been my experience that there's a lot of sickness and tragedy, and nobody says woohoo they left. No, I think some cultures do.
I'm like, oh, they made it home. Right. I don't mean to be insensitive to other people, but when I hear that somebody did struggle, I'm comfortable with it now. I believe that if my immediate family, I would have a much different take on it. But I don't have to. If I don't know the family members of that person, I don't have to see that suffering, but I know for that person that they are in a better place. So I have empathy for the family, but I'm glad for that person that was suffering.
And there's no condemnation if you take your own life.
Mm-hmm. No. Well, but I just think that it is that you can kind of plan your exit. You can set the intention for, I want peaceful, I wanted, go in my sleep, whatever it is. I don't know if it overrides what your soul had planned.
You absolutely can plan it. And that's where many people make the mistake, because they're letting, I'm just going to use Christianity, they're letting that Bible decide for them how they're going to die. And if they've sinned, they are going to hell.
Okay, so
they're creating that.
My grandmother, I saw her cross. That is one of my, I can say that's one of my strong gifts, is I can see people cross. And my grandmother, she was so funny because she was itty bitty, like 4'10", tiny, and she wore high heels. She was a beautician, and
she ever be here?
She did.
I see her.
Gigi, yeah, she's funny. One time she gave herself a perm and she forgot to take it out and it melted her hair off. Yeah, she's funny.
Did she wear wigs?
No, she did. I mean, she might have then. I don't know, but she always had a cigarette in her mouth, and she had fried shrimp and beer back. She's
one of those.
Really funny, and she's very soft spoken.
Like Steel Magnolia is kind of
very much so. Very much so. Yeah, small town. So when she passed, she had a stroke, and she was in bed for many years. I mean, they would get her up here and there, but so my grandfather met her, and her people were behind. It's like the wall, like the headboard was on the wall, and the wall kind of disappeared, and my grandfather stepped forward. He met her and hugged her, and she kind of looked at her. She's like, oh, like, really? That was me? Anyway, and then she turned and she left. But she had a fear. She did have a fear of hell, and I think that keeps a lot of people here for a long time because they don't know what is going to meet them on the other side. And I think we create our experience.
Right, and I think it takes more light workers to share their experiences, take the stigma away of different things, whether it's mental illness, whatever's going on, whatever's going on in your family.
That's true.
The abuse that's going on in your family, whatever, to help us realize that there are experiences for a reason. And it's to help, I believe, to help ourselves grow, but to help others grow.
So if you guys are taking anything from this little bit, know that you can create your death. Go ahead and start intentions right now. I'm going to have a peaceful death. I'm not even going to feel any pain. If there's pain involved in my death, like an accident, I'm going to leave my body before that shit.
I think that happens. I think you do kind of pop out beforehand because they say. So I have somebody close to me that had a death. He wrapped himself around a pole. And he was higher than a kite, but it confused him, and he carried that into the next life, or he carried that into his death because he didn't know. He didn't. It's like, what happened? Where am I? And so it took him a little while. But you can, and it's Barbara Marciniak, I believe. She was the one that was saying. Actually, she goes further, and she says that pain, confusion, drug-induced death. Not I took my own drugs. I'm talking like morphine, chemotherapy, like. That can be by design, that there's a lot of fear in that, and that there are those that feed off the fear. Anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. So I said, nope, I'm taking my power back, and this is how, or just, heart attack, boom, done.
And that life continues on, so there's nothing to fear. It's not like you're just gonna...
You don't disappear.
No. Don't disappear.
Well, that might be a great place to stop. Death. Stop, comma, death, or stop
dead
death,
as
period.
A doorknob.
Death as a doorknob? Or dead as a doorknob?
I know where that came from.
That's one. We'll figure it out later. It's gonna be one of those. I'm not even gonna think about the pink elephant. It's gonna be one of those.
What pink elephant? There's a pink elephant?
It showed up later.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So anyway, all right, guys. So you can check both of them out.
Wait, I didn't give my props.
Your show.
There.
Okay, well, I have a new show, Silver Linings. So check that out on YouTube and check out my Facebook group, which is Silver Lining Healings. And from there, you can find links to all my shows. Shiny Show, Stardust, and Silver Linings. I'm also a badass energy healer. So if you need some juju, you come find me.
She does light language.
I do light language, too.
Are you filling up for it?
Oh, that's... Sure. I'll
Wait, hold on. Okay, then they can find you again. I know we already said it, but you can find you.
Doing Grief Differently with Adam and Sarah and sarahkajawa.com.
Yes, and I'll put the links in down below. I promise I'll do it this time.
We'll end with light language.
All right.
Then
while I'm in the middle of it, you can get ready. Well, you don't. Okay, never mind. Okay.
Closing your eyes.
Akasemeliki tiki siki mileke teke o no osaka mata keke ela hala molo la la mala lelele elo kutu utuku usuku motaka ala ele ulo ala makateke usuku nuputaka tataka ule hele mele lulu ula ala hala ale ele utukutu sutuku ukuta akamata keke ela hala molo ula ala ele usuka matake iti usuku mutukuku ula asaka matake ela hola ele ola ala mala ala lele isiki mitiki iti mitiki sukutnu bakaha lalamale usa mateke ehe nanu. There's a Robin.
Oh, thank you for that.
Sure.
All right,
so great.
Guys, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Take care.
And cut.
Okay, you're gonna have to show me how to do that because I started doing it and then I freaked myself out, so I shut it down.
Light language?
Just
Just let it fall out of your mouth.
It will literally fall
Get it rolling.
All right, I'm gonna escape out the back, Jack.
Okay. Make new plans, Stan.
I don't mean to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me. I'm gonna hop on my bus.